Hello and welcome to Workplace Wednesday with B and Z, known as Felicia Ricards and Zena Collins. If you're a regular, thank you for coming back and spending your time with us. Just to let you know, we are actually pre-recording this because Felicia, in her International Woman of Mystery persona, will be flying on Wednesday. So thank you for watching, and we will be checking the comments. Well, I will be anyway, because Felicia will be in flight. But today we thought we would build on, moving away from the slides and just having a conversation with you and with each other. And as I mentioned, Felicia has been in industry for like over 30 years. I don't want to age her, but she has experience in leadership positions and as an executive leadership coach. And so she's right here. So why wouldn't we ask her for advice and tips on what we can do differently in the workplace? So last week we talked about being honest, recognizing that not everybody's looking for that job that's full of purpose. Some people are in it for the cash. And so today we're going to explore Felicia's 5 lessons, what she would tell her younger self entering into her first job. So welcome, Felicia. Good to see you.
You as well. Thank you, as always, Zena.
I'm loving the light that's shining on you. It's giving you a really lovely glow. I want to see if that glow matches your mood. So
I know. I'm using the glow to lift my mood today because I'm actually had an exhausting day, but it's all good. We're going to channel this conversation through the energy to everybody else. So that's the important part.
There we go. So yes, we're getting in the zone.
Yeah.
So on the mood meter, I'm slightly fatigued, but I'm excited because I just like the idea of us flowing in these conversations now and being consistent and getting it done. And so, excited to dig into your 5 lessons learned. So let's dig in. So number 5.
Yeah, well, let's before I say that, last week we spoke about getting a job, a career, or your passion, your reason. So this kind of follows on for that because my first role was actually me getting a job because getting back to home life after university was, meant me, repaying a loan that I had taken out personally to finish up that final year. The rest I had pretty much funded through, work and all that kind of stuff. So I started out by getting a job and thought I'd figure it out as I go along. So I think that kind of sets the stage for this conversation. So number 5, understand the impact that you have on others. And this is, I think, an important one when you're first starting out because especially if you're just coming out of that university life and kind of catapulted into workplace, it's a completely different environment. You're probably used to studying with a group, learning with a group, maybe hanging out with a group, and now all of a sudden it's serious time where you have to earn your paycheck and you have to kind of collaborate with people who are really about business. So it's a complete mindset shift. So understand the impact that you have on others from the beginning, because that will tell you how people perceive you, and that will also tell you what your, kind of how you can progress and navigate the workplace. So that one I wish I could have learned a little bit earlier. You kind of learn it as you go along, but that's definitely the first one. Understand the impact that you have on others.
Yeah, that's the great point, because it's not just your skills that get you progressing up the ladder. It's how other people perceive you, even if it's true.
I mean, you're right. If I'm honest, the skills are often secondary. It's all the other stuff, which for me was kind of the test, because all of the other stuff can be draining for me. Like many people, you want to go in, you want to get the work done, and you want to leave without having, to deal with all of the other things that come along with it.
Yeah.
But that goes part and parcel with navigating relationships in the workplace. So yeah, definitely the impact you have on others.
Okay. So number 4, what's number 4?
Put your own development first. And fortunately, I was able to do this quite quickly. It's my very first job because I thought from the beginning it was important for me to understand what my potential was, not only at the first company, but if I decided to change course, understanding that the first job was a job, was I going to stick within that career path and field, or was I going to navigate outside of it? And what I was able to do with that first employer was really to maximize their employee benefits package to support my development without going into a lot of detail. And a lot of people don't realize embedded in these employee benefits package, often there are tuition allowances, there are personal and professional development allowances, so there's lots of stuff embedded in there, which they're not necessarily at the company going to, give you kind of a line item, listing of everything. But if you dig into it, a lot of times you can find things that will benefit you, even if you decide to leave the company later. So put your own development first. Don't wait for your manager, your supervisor, your colleagues. Don't wait for anybody else to put you forward. Understand the lay of the land in the company, what the organization chart is, if there are other departments or opportunities that you might be interested in, and speak to some people who are, maybe filling a different role, and find out for yourself what these things are rather than wait for somebody to say if they think you're a fit or if they think you're not a fit or what might interest you. So really kind of dig into what people are doing and why they're doing it, and not just kind of sink your teeth just into your own role. So your own development first.
Yeah, that's interesting because now it's taking me back to a job where I'm one of the jobs where I met you. And I think it was observing you and how you had a appetite for learning and getting qualifications, where I realized that organization offered free training and they paid you to do the exams. So I remember earning like thousands of dollars from passing exams there. And
That's
then
right.
that enabled me to get financial services knowledge that set me up to go into professional services later on and understand about life insurance and all those different things. So that's, yes, you had an impact on others, but you didn't even realize. I know that wasn't your first job, but at some point you just seem to integrate that into your being, your way of being.
Yeah, and that came from my very first job when I realized, because back then what they would do is they would, give you a desk and they'd give you this big paper binder. That's what the world was like. And you'd spend a few days, your first few days kind of flipping through this binder. And that was your orientation, believe it or not. So in leafing through this binder, right, in leafing through this binder, I realized, wait, you would pay for that? You would pay for that? And some things you may have to, kind of pay your registration fee and get reimbursed. There are different ways, but there are loads of embedded. And of course, every company is different. So I'm hoping that people that are listening don't go to their employer and say, what do you have that I can take advantage of? Just explore on your own. Don't be demanding. Explore on your own and see what might be beneficial for you.
But there is something that's, I read today that Canva are offering their employees $5,000, I think it is, to choose the AI tools that they want to learn and integrate into their role, and whichever ones kind of stick and make sense, they'll then explore having it as part of the company suite of tools. So I think some leaders are getting hip to the fact that that is also a retention strategy.
It is, and the saying is cheaper to keep her or cheaper to keep in. It is really true in employment. It is cheaper to offer upskilling, reskilling, retooling to your existing employee base than to go through the recruitment and acquisition process for somebody new, and then the onboarding of that person, and then getting that fit into the culture. So it really is an advantage if an employer can offer upskill and retooling to existing employees, especially now with the world of work being so fluid with technology. It's employers are looking to see how can we support our employees with learning new technologies and helping the company, ultimately helping the company be more competitive.
So what's number 3?
Number 3, and this was a difficult one for me, I'll be very honest. So this is a moment where I'm going to be a little vulnerable. Navigate office politics early. Learn what that means. For 2 reasons. One, learning it early saves you a lot of, ego you face, a lot of difficult moments, a lot of frustrations. And also, if as you mature within the office space, your resilience for office politics diminishes and you get frustrated easily, you get pissed off more easily, and you just really, most people just don't have the appetite for it anymore. It gets really frustrating. So if you learn how to navigate what office politics are like in your company early, then you be able to kind of fit with the flow. And it doesn't mean that you have to kind of give in your own values to some things that you don't agree with, but understand kind of who the players are that are important, who are the players that have um, the influence, and understand who those players are who could be allies to you outside of your own manager. That for me, that's probably the most important, and that's because if you're having a challenging relationship with your own manager, then you still have the potential comfort of an ally to help you navigate what that looks like, or what you may be able to do differently, or what you might be missing in your own skill set. And learning to navigate that earlier, sooner rather than later, is so important.
So I hear a lot about office politics. I've experienced what I think are office politics as well. And so, how do you define office politics?
In terms of, I define it mostly in terms of relationships. So and that's what I'm thinking about when I say navigating office politics. And when I say relationships, I mean human behavior means that we usually support, gather around, endorse for, advocate for people who are either most similar to ourselves or less of a challenge to manage or lead. And that goes across the board, no matter what company I've worked at, no matter what industry. Human behavior dictates that it's easier for us to support, like endorse or advocate for people who are either most similar to ourselves or whom we think um, cause the least, I don't want to say disruption because that's not what I mean, or who are the easiest flow to lead those people. So navigating that office politics is understanding, okay, where are my difficult relationships? Um, who might I need to understand a little better how to interact with this person in the workplace? And who are my allies who can speak positively about me, you, yourself, when you're not in the room? So if there's one relationship that may be a challenge, somebody else is able to advocate for you so it doesn't seem like you have multiple relationships that are challenging. So office politics, I would define in this instance more around internal relationships, power and influence.
Yeah, I see that.
Mm-hmm.
So number 2.
Yeah. So number 2, establish your allies. And this is important because those allies, first of all, are not necessarily at your same working level. When I say allies, I mean individuals who are 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 levels more senior than you within the company. And those are the individuals who either see value in you as an employee, or you have worked with them on a project, but they're not your immediate leader or manager, or those individuals, for some reason, seem like they always look out for you. Maybe they check on you, or they seem very cordial when they see you or approach you. So those individuals, you can really establish a relationship with them as allies, and those relationships are really important.
And number one.
Number one for me, you might guess, is on day one of job one, create your own personal financial plan. Day one, job one.
Mm.
Yes. The reason being is because usually day one, job one, that's when you have the least personal overhead. That is, you probably don't have a mortgage yet. You probably don't have a full family unit to support yet. You probably don't have other personal loans yet. Likely, maybe not always, but usually day one, job one, that's when you have the most minimal obligation. So you have the ability to really maximize the income that you're receiving. In most cases, not every case, so I'm generalizing a bit, but you have the ability to maximize. So what if you think you have, I don't know, 50% of your income that you can work for you as you mature, do it then, because it's less likely 10, 20 years down the road that you will have 50% of your income to be able to use and leverage for future earnings. So from the beginning, figure out what the end goal is, whether that's retirement, whether that is to start a business, no matter what it is, whether it's to have a family, put kids through school, to buy a house, and start working on that from day one, job one, when it's usually the easiest.
So I guess even if you change your mind along the way, there's no downside of still having money in the bank.
No, I mean, in most cases, at the very first job, particularly, people really can't even define exactly what they're earning because it's new. You're used to university, probably. You've been paying tuition, probably your parents have been supporting your lifestyle. So when you earn and you get an offer letter, that offer letter will say something like, this is the salary, this is the income, these are the deductions, these are the benefits attached to this. Understand what every line item means. So if this line item changes, what does that mean for your income? If the next line item changes, what does that mean for your income? How can I maximize my future earnings within this benefit package? Not just, and ask people, because usually, and if there's an HR administrator, that person might be a generalist. So they might not know all of the underlying details, but somebody else will. If it's a benefits administrator or an internal specialist, speak to that person. If it's pension, for example, or health insurance, speak to those people so you know how to maximize every benefit that you have available to you and what long-term savings, pensions, options that you have to participate in.
So I know, and this is definitely not financial advice. This is just for entertainment value. But I know that you did train as a financial advisor as well in terms of those qualifications. So I'm interested to hear, seeing that's your number one thing you would have done differently. Day one today, you're starting your first job in 2025 with the world being what it is. Creating that financial plan, what would you do differently today?
Day one, job one. So, from a personal perspective, I didn't have any dependents. Leaving university, and then I was still in my parents' home, even though I was, not supporting, but I was, making a contribution to that household. It was still quite minimal. So I would really have maximized my excess. I'm going to put air quotes around excess earnings and squirreled that away immediately. So what I now understand was potential, to maximize that additional income. I mean, I probably bought things that I probably didn't need. Probably bought, maybe clothing. I don't know. I never really was an overspender, but I probably could have, participated earlier in the share options in those companies, even though I did eventually. Again, I'm talking about day one, job one. I could have, topped up on my pension plans, different things like that. I think I would have done even earlier than I did.
And so when you think about what you know now as opposed to then, when you think about the word work and you think about the mindset that you need to go into it with in order to provide the value of the job they are employing you for, but extract the value in order to, build the type of life you want to lead. Like, what's the mindset that you would advise these kind of new future leaders to have when they walk through the door on day one?
Without a doubt, study yourself first. Study yourself first because it's so important to know your values, your own goals, your aspirations, what you enjoy, what you might like to learn, what you'd like to learn differently, what triggers you. So study yourself first, and those will be your cues. Um, a, a good example is if you have hobbies, or sports, any type of hobby or sports that you enjoy, be really selfish about pursuing that. As you get more mature in your career, more mature in your personal life, those things tend to drop away, and you tend to prioritize other things. So, really study yourself and know what your own end goal is so that when you go into job one, day one, and you look at that, whatever it is now, it's probably not a binder anymore. It's probably a portal that I'm assuming most companies have a portal. Once you're scanning that portal, you know what you're looking for. You know what's going to attract your attention. You know what might fit for your, kind of 10 years down the road, whatever that plan is, and attack everything, approach everything from the perspective, how is it going to benefit you in every job that you transition from or leave? You should take something more than you arrived with for yourself personally. You should leave every job with something more than you started, whether that's in knowledge, skills, abilities, personal or professional growth. You should always transition with more than you arrived with.
So I'm hearing the language I hear now is like an owner mentality.
Mhm.
Would that be fair?
Definitely. Ownership, particularly because companies have now shifted from what we were speaking about a few weeks ago, that kind of family oriented conversation and structure and environment, to okay, you are employees, and yes, we value you, and but you are going to need to take ownership of your professional development, your feedback process, how you interact with others in the workplace, what your career path is. That is now at the individual level. It's more important at the individual level. So it's less likely that a leader is going to be really having deep and structured conversations about what it is that each individual in their department wants to achieve. Everybody should be thinking about that for themselves, and that will create. I think that will create a much more accelerated career path rather than waiting to see if there's a leader that decides that they want to support you through your career, rather than waiting for an internal job opportunity to become available. Throw your interest in the ring before it becomes available, perhaps. So, definitely personal ownership of what that career path looks like. So, day one, job one, understand what who you are internally, externally, personally, professionally, and what your aspirations are, I should say.
So I'm gonna make an executive decision based on how we started this session.
Mhm.
We checked in the mood meter, and you said that you were feeling a little bit fatigued, but we were gonna push through. And
Mhm.
you are traveling tomorrow, and
Mhm.
we are both um, owners of our own business. And one
Mhm.
of the benefits of that is we're able to design our own workflow.
Mhm.
So usually we do 60-minute sessions, but
Mhm.
today we're going to do 30 minutes. And I would
Mhm.
love for us to close out with, what was the one thing you would say that you did when you were younger that you are happy that you did now based on where you are today?
Oh my goodness. The one thing I did that I still do actually is prioritize my own development. So I still, at the end of every year, um, I write it because I actually enjoy the process of writing in notebooks. I decide what it is that I want to have completed the upcoming year during the upcoming year, and that could be something small because obviously I'm a little more mature now. It could be something small or short, but from my first employer, that actually involved completing a master's degree while I was employed at that company. So that was always a part of my process. And I think I just said earlier, um, putting your development first, I said earlier, and then also ownership of what that career path is for you individually. That was one of the things that I've always been competent and confident in, and it just helped me to kind of move through, I guess, accelerate through different roles quite quickly, because I was able to, command those roles, and I was able to really demonstrate readiness for the next level. So that served me well, and it still serves me well now because I'm able to have, kind of the discipline and structure that I need, even though I'm largely unsupervised.
Well, it's always a pleasure having a conversation with you, Fee. And I just want to acknowledge the fact that even though you've given us these 5 lessons of things you would do differently, where you've landed in terms of the accomplishments in your personal and your professional life is a demonstration that even if you don't make all the right choices when you're younger, you can still course correct along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So course correction is important, and then also giving yourself, I say this a lot, grace and space when things don't quite go the way that you wanted, or the result is not exactly as you wanted it to be. So course correcting and allowing yourself, the ability to kind of readjust, align, navigate what changes you might make, and that allows you the ability to be less anxious about what the future looks like when you allow yourself the ability to say, okay, maybe that wasn't exactly the way I wanted it to work out, or maybe I underestimated what I needed to do to accomplish that, which I've done as well. But there's always the possibility to adjust and change, especially in today's world, when there's easy access at your fingertips to information, easy access to information, and also easy access to learning as well. So, you know, I can describe the difference between what the learning process was years ago compared to what it is now.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that we're on LinkedIn Live
Hmm.
and we're able to have these conversations every week, and anybody can jump on and create
Hmm.
their own conversations around an area that they are a subject matter expert in. is like really powerful, the platforms. So thank you for everybody that has watched this recording. Please put any comments or thoughts in terms of your top 5 things that you have learned along your journey, or one of the points that Felicia shared that you really resonated with you. We'd love to see that and read that. And we look forward to checking in with you next week. Any parting words, Felicia?
Yeah, thank you so much, Zena, and thank you for allowing me the space to recognize that I've had a hectic 3 weeks, and just still allow me to share. And I really would like, if there are any of those 5 points that resonated with anybody, or if anybody has kind of a question on maybe how they might implement any of those points, I'll be happy to get those questions and, of course, share them with Zena, and we can both get back to you.
All right. Until next Wednesday. See you guys later.
See you, everybody.